This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.
British Spy Stories Season 4 Double Agent Episode 18. After touching down at Berlin-Brandenburg Airport, the taxi drops Hans at the British Embassy, as he wants to see if he can collect any information about Vincent Février's death from the spooks embedded on the dirty side of the embassy. He finds 2 spies at their desks, but neither seem to know anything about the death, or they don't want to talk about it. Hans asks them about Maya, too, as she was a colleague of theirs, and again they seem to be disinterested, or, more likely, they know things that they can't tell Hans. Even though he hasn't made an appointment, he walks to the end of the top corridor and into Angela Crick's outer office. She is the MI6 Berlin station chief. He doesn't know the new assistant, as Mel, the old PA, who Hans knew very well, has been moved to Paris. The new assistant, Hazel, doesn't want to interrupt her boss, but Hans convinces her that it's important. She disappears inside the inner office, making sure to carefully close the door behind her. Then she reappears a minute later. "You can go in," she says, not smiling. 5 minutes. Hans ignores her frostiness and smiles broadly to her. He walks into the inner office. Angela Crick has short brown hair and severe black glasses that match her black skirt suit. "Agent Hans, this is a surprise. Why aren't you in Frankfurt?" "We're in Zurich now, Mom. Operation Barwood has moved there." She pointedly doesn't ask any more questions, as Operation Barwood is being run from London, and not by her in Berlin. The local MI6 station chiefs are always miffed when London controls operations in a local geography. "What can I do for you?" Her eyes narrow slightly. She doesn't offer him a seat, but he sits anyway. "Maya Lorenz," he says. "As you know, we were asked to help locate her after she disappeared." Crick blinks slowly, as the only acknowledgement of his words. "I need to find out more about the death of Vincent Février, to inform our search." "One of my team are embedded in the Berlin police, so we have it all covered." Only now does she put down a fountain pen that she was using when Hans arrived. "I'd like to talk to your resource." "They report to me, so anything they know, I know." "Can you tell me anything about the death?" "We haven't found anything yet. There are no clues to identify the murderer. They left no forensics, apparently." "Maya Lorenz's DNA would have been in the bed, Mum, given that she was sleeping with him." Crick doesn't react to the words. Patently, she knows more than she is telling. "Do we think that Maya was involved with the death, Mum?" Crick's eyes narrow even more, trying to work out what point he is trying to make. "Of course not," she says. "Whatever makes you ask that?" "That's what the Berlin police believe. If she was in the room, surely she at least knows who the killer is, if it's not her." "Agent Hans, I'd prefer you didn't go around accusing your colleagues of crimes when you don't have any evidence." He ignores her spikiness. "Who do you think did it, Mum? Février was, after all, a member of a foreign intelligence organization. I'd have thought it would be a top priority to find the killer." Hans keeps his face absolutely deadpan, so as not to give away any of his thoughts about what might be the answers to these questions that Angela Crick is refusing to entertain. "We'll just have to wait and see, won't we?" she says.
As soon as we get anything more, I'll ask someone to pass it on to you.
She picks up her pen again, indicating that the conversation is over. Hans turns on his heel and walks out. Once back on the street, he pulls out his phone and flicks through his contacts, until he sees a name from the Berlin police who he knows well. He sends a message asking to meet up for a lunch or a beer, and a positive reply comes back within 5 minutes. Hans walks to the bar that's near the Berlin police headquarters, and his contact arrives within 1 minute. "Hey, Gordon." The man is tall, with dark hair and a military demeanour. "Long time no see," says Hans. "How on earth are you?" "Dieter." The sound of his mobile phone ringing draws Riverside to the bedroom of his flat in Fulham, West London. The screen shows an encrypted call coming in. He puts in the code, then answers.
"Riverside?"
says a woman's voice.
"It's Connie Barrett."
"Hello, Mom."
"I've just had a message from the Metropolitan Police that links to Operation Dunby. One of your people of interest is the MP Gavin Masters, isn't he?"
"Yes, Mom."
"Masters' wife didn't go home after she was released by the police. They're concerned for her safety. I didn't want the Met to crash all over our operation, so I said we'd action something."
Riverside sits on his bed as he listens.
"We traced her phone to Suffolk,"
says Connie.
"The techies ran a scan on mobiles being used in the same cell as Mrs. Masters that are not usual users in that area. 2 names came up. One of them links to our old friend Leo Has. You'll be aware that Has's death was the cause of Mrs. Masters' arrest."
"I'm aware, Mum." Connie continues.
"The mystery man in Suffolk was not part of Has's gang, however, but on the other side in a drug war that is being played out internationally."
"What are you thinking about Mrs. Masters, Mum?"
"I'd like you to go to Suffolk and ensure her safety. Either she's innocent and we need to protect her, or she's part of the drug war and knew Haas, but when the police interviewed her, they didn't see it."
"We haven't found any evidence that she's involved with crime. Ditto her husband, but Charles Webster seems to be the more likely man to leak."
"I'll get the transcripts from GCHQ of the tap on his phone in that case."
"We've got video evidence too," he says, "from a honey trap used in Loxby."
"I understand you've assured my ops team that she's up to the job in the field after the social media video the other day."
"I have, Mum. She's fine, just enthusiastic."
"Well, go out to Suffolk, then, and take Loxby. It'll be a good experience for her."
They end the call. Riverside grabs his coat and heads to the door. The moon is bright tonight. Becky walks from her bedroom to check on her daughter in one of the other rooms along the first-floor corridor of Primrose House. As she walks back, Sylvia opens her bedroom door.
"Can't sleep,"
she says.
"Just checking on Lily. Is she all right? Away with the fairies?"
She laughs gently.
"I was awake anyway. She didn't disturb me. I've got some Cointreau in my room. Do you want a nightcap? Might help you to sleep."
The women go and sit on the window seat in the master bedroom, and Sylvia pours 2 drinks into mugs. She opens the blinds so that they can see the waves crashing onto the beach beyond the road.
"I know I said I didn't like growing up here when I was a teenager, but it was magical sometimes. My bedroom was on the next floor up, in the roof. My window pointed the same way as this one. So this is the view I had. I used to watch the water like this when my mum thought I was asleep. It's perfect here. I'd like to stay. Have you decided anything about your future?"
says Sylvia, and takes a sip of her drink.
"No. I'm waiting for some sort of inspiration."
They both smile and turn their eyes to the moonlit seascape. They don't talk for a second.
"What was that?"
says Becky.
"I didn't hear anything." Something smashing. Glass, maybe?
Sylvia shakes her head.
These old houses are full of creaks.
They both stop and listen. And this time, a bang sounds from downstairs.
There is something there,
says Becky.
It's the wind. No, really.
Her voice takes on more force.
All right, I'll go and have a look. Be careful. It's just an old house.
Sylvia walks away and down the stairs. She turns on the light in the main hallway that leads to the front door and takes a deep breath out. She puts her head around the doorframe to the lounge and the dining room. She peers across the darkness, but sees nothing out of place. She walks into the kitchen, and there is broken glass on the tiled floor.
Hello,
she says.
Is someone there?
Riverside turns his Toyota GR86 sports car onto the A12 highway that leads from London to Suffolk and opens up the throttle. In the passenger seat next to him, Loxby is asleep as they push on through the night. By 2:30 a.m, he drives the car into Southwold Town Square and stops. Wake up, Emma. She remains still. Emma! He speaks more loudly, and she does stir this time, and opens her sleepy eyes.
Where are we?
The place. Come on, we need to work. Loxby pulls down the vanity mirror to look at her face.
Oh, God,
she mutters to herself. Riverside points to the sat-nav screen in front of them. That red dot is a marker for Rebecca Masters' phone. It's down the road there, by the looks of it. He steers across the square and towards the sea, then parks up on a side road after 5 minutes. Should be down there, he says.
Are we just going to knock on the door in the middle of the night?
We'll just have a look for now, he says. Have you been trained on handguns?
1 week introduction course.
She looks at him.
Why?
He opens the glove box, pulls out 2 Glock 17s, and hands one to her. Only use it when I say, and aim for their legs if you end up firing. She nods, and he also takes 2 torches from the glove box, then slams it shut. They step out of the Toyota and push the guns into their belts, behind their backs. They walk on towards the sound of the waves hitting the beach, and Riverside watches the red marker, now on his phone, to show them the way. It's that big house over there, he says, as they reach a green where the road ends and the coast begins.
I can't see any lurking danger,
she says. We'll go and explore. They walk over to the house. Riverside puts his finger up to his lips and beckons Loxby to follow him around the side of the building. There's no gate to the garden, and they move silently across the lawn.
What are we looking for?
She whispers into his ear.
Anything that looks out of place.
They walk to the back of the house.
One of the panes of glass in the door is broken,
she says. He puts his finger to his lips again and reaches around to pull out his handgun. Loxby does the same. Riverside pushes the back door, and it swings open. They step over the threshold and disappear into the interior. Riverside's foot lands on glass shards, which crunch softly beneath his tread. They both stop and wait, but they can't hear any sound coming from the rest of the building. They walk like cats across the black and white tiles of the kitchen floor and move through into the hallway. The 2 spies go into each room in turn on the ground floor. The lounge has 1 curtain open, with a view of the sea, but the room is empty. The same with the dining room and the study near the back of the house. Riverside looks at Loxby. He pulls his torch from his pocket and nods over to the base of the staircase. He places one foot on the bottom tread. His other foot moves to the next step. Each time he moves, he listens for any sound to guide them. At the top of the flight, a long landing leads to 7 dark wood doors, all identical. His fingers grasp the handle of the first door, and he twists his hand until the latch comes away from the wood, and he pushes it open. Riverside holds his torch up in front of him, alongside his gun. The light tracks across the room inside, but there's no one there. They repeat the process for the other doors, until there are only 2 doors left. The first of these is slightly ajar, and sways minutely in the night air. Riverside moves inside. "Stop there," says a man's voice from the darkness. "Who are you?" says Riverside. But there's no answer. After 2 seconds, the man says, "Who sent you?" "No one. We live next door. We heard the glass breaking and came over." Riverside deftly stows his gun back in his belt without being seen in the darkness. "Just turn around and leave," says the man.
"Are Becky and Sylvia okay?"
says Loxby. "They've gone away for a few days," the man starts to say, but a muffled shout rolls out from the other side of the room. Riverside moves instantly. He flicks on his torch and plucks his Glock from his waistband, bringing it around to lead the way into the room. The loudness of the first shot makes Loxby jump, but Riverside fires back at the outline of a standing man in the shadows. "The lights, Loxby," he says, and she hits the switch beside the doorframe. The 2 women are sitting on the floor. Their hands are tied, blindfolds on their eyes, and tape across their mouths. The 2 men are each side of them with handguns drawn. One man is thin and wiry, with a shock of blonde hair. The other guy is larger and darker, with small eyes. "Put the guns down," shouts Riverside, but the larger guy fires, and the shot thuds home into the woodwork of the doorframe. Loxby squeezes her trigger and aims for the blonde man's legs. He keels over with a red stain on his trouser leg above the right knee. The big guy stoops down to Becky and puts his gun to her head. "Is it what you want?" he screams. Riverside stops and lets his gun fall onto one finger to show that he's not going to fire. "Move away, back to the door. Throw your guns on the floor." They comply. "You can't get away," says Riverside. "There's another 6 of us outside." Loxby manages not to look surprised at the lie. The big man drags Becky up from her sitting position, keeping the gun to her head. He starts to move towards the door, his eyes trained on the spies. He reaches the door and tugs Becky around to get her through the doorway. As he manhandles her body, Riverside moves like lightning. He bends down and grabs for his gun. In a single movement, he twists his wrist and fires around. The man collapses immediately, taking Becky with him to the floor. The blonde man is still active and crawls around to try to recover his handgun that he dropped when he was hit. As he reaches for it, Loxby steps across and kicks it away, under a chest of drawers. She goes down on one knee, picks up the gun, and holds it to his face. Riverside unties Becky's hands and removes her blindfold and tape. "Who are you?" she says. "British intelligence, Mum." Loxby keeps her gun on the blonde man, but looks over at Sylvia, who isn't moving. "Rob," she says. "She's been hit." Episode 19. Becky, Loxby and Riverside watch 2 ambulances drive off with Sylvia in one and the dark-haired gunman in the other. The local police bring up the rear of the convoy, with the blonde guy handcuffed in the back of a patrol car. Mrs. Webster will be fine, says Riverside, turning to Becky. She didn't lose much blood. Who were those men? Says Becky, pulling a cardigan up around her shoulders. They're likely connected to your arrest and your links to Leo Haas. I don't have any links to him. Becky's voice carries in the air. The police told us he passed something to you the night you met him, says Loxby. Did he? No, only his phone number. This is exactly what they spent 24 hours asking me. She gets tearful again. His phone number? Can I see? Says Riverside. Becky finds the number and shows him her phone. Did Haas type this in? Yes. Can I take a photo? He says. And she shrugs. So he takes the picture. I need to go and check Lily. Becky walks off quickly back to the house. Why did you want the phone number of a dead man? Says Loxby. It's not the number. Look. Riverside shows the picture. Those digits in the notes field, what are they? I don't know yet, says Riverside. But Haas typed them in for a reason. Let me run them through Oberon. We might get some matches. He selects some options on his screen and runs the inquiry. After a few seconds, some results appear. What does it say? She says. The number hasn't brought up anything, but Haas's name has. He's linked to a live op, Operation Barwood. There are no details, but the lead agent is a name I know. Who's that? Says Loxby. Gabby Lane, Agent Blackhawk. He makes a call and puts the phone to his ear. Blackhawk, Riverside. Long time no hear, Rob, says Gabby. South of France, wasn't it? You know I had no choice. Gabby ignores the words. What can I do for you? This is very early in the morning, she says. I'm seconded to 5 and we've come across a name that links to your current op, Leo Haas. What came up? We're looking into military procurement leaks in the UK. Haas met a woman called Rebecca Masters the day before he died. She's the wife of one of our persons of interest. What was her relationship to Haas? Says Gabby. She says none, but they met in a club in London the night before he died, and he gave her his number. OK, put it on the Oberon record and we can pick it up this end. There are a couple of other things, says Riverside. Haas typed his number into her phone and added a load of random digits afterwards. I wondered if they meant anything to you. Let me send you a picture. He sends the image. See those numbers? Mean anything? In the safe house in Zurich, Gabby studies the picture. No, sorry, Rob. They don't mean anything. All right. Worth a try. You said there were 2 things. I got GCHQ to track the cells where Haas used his phone and match them to anyone else on Oberon. Did it tell you anything? Says Gabby. Haas' phone was often in the same cell overnight as an MI6 agent called Maya Lorenz. She keeps popping up everywhere. Presumably they were in a relationship, says Riverside. She already had 2 others. Don't know if it's any use anyway, he says. We need to get on. Here, look after yourself. You too, Rob. They ring off and Gabby looks again at the 6 sets of 2 digits. But she can't see any link to the work she's doing. Maybe Maya will know when they find her. Gabby gets up and goes for a shower. The maid opens the door and shows Arno Webel into the dining room of the lake house. Amandine is sitting at one end of a long dark wood table, with papers spread out in front of her. Coffees, please, Marat, she says to the maid. Then she turns to her guest. Arno, this is unusual. You coming all the way from Frankfurt to see me? We only ever seem to have time to talk about business when we're in the office. I wanted to see how you are, after... He struggles for the right words.
after Vincent.
She smiles insincerely and indicates a chair on one side of the table for him.
I'm coping, Arno. I'm glad. He was a great man. I loved him, of course, but I realize now that my life was not what I thought. In what way, Amandine?
He looks puzzled.
I've learned things about him in the last week or so that are unpalatable,
she says.
I've gradually started feeling that I'm glad that he's not here anymore.
Arno's not sure how to respond, so just looks sympathetic. Amandine continues.
It's as though the man I was married to actually died years ago, and I never noticed.
Marette arrives with their drinks.
I wanted to talk to you about your personal safety,
says Arno, trying to move away from the previous topic, which was making him feel uncomfortable.
As your head of security, you being safe is an important part of my job. I'd recommend we increase the security around the house. Large houses are a magnet for petty thieves. We put cameras in a couple of years ago that you insisted on. I think they're sufficient.
Would you consider a bodyguard, Amandine? She shakes her head.
No, of course not. I'm not a pop star. Do you remember that you asked me to talk to the Zurich police about the shooting incident? Oscar explained that to me, she says. He was the target, apparently, not me. You are aware of the extent of Mr. Zetkin's business interests, aren't you, Amandine? I am. He's a good partner for us. His network is extensive, and he's brought several large loan deals to us, as you know.
All for arms sales?
We're just bankers, Arno,
she says.
What people choose to do with the money is not our concern. We only care about whether they can pay it back, with interest. Some of his contacts are less than scrupulous, Amandine. But our contact is Mr. Zetkin, and he is above board. Your team checked out his credentials and his background when he first approached us, didn't they? They found nothing. Since then, he says, I found out more about him. There are significant risks. You're fussing over nothing, Arno. He may be a danger for you, Amandine. You, personally. Now you've lost me. I do recommend we arrange a security person to be here in the house, just to put my mind at rest.
She breathes out heavily.
Talk to my assistant here, Natalie. She can sort out the arrangements.
As Laravel walks into her office, she sees a pile of paperwork stacked in the centre of her desk that wasn't there earlier. She opens the top folder in the pile. It's a drawing of computer servers and links. Then she sees the title in the corner of the sheet. Friedrich Anderson Main Systems Network. She sits down and starts to go through all of the documentation. By lunchtime, Laravel has read everything and made notes on the most important points. She walks to the lounge where Amandine is finishing her lunch at a table by the window.
Madame,
she says as she walks in.
Natalie, did you see the documents on your desk? I did, madame. Have you time to discuss them now? Have you had lunch? No, madame.
Amandine picks up her mobile that is next to her on the table.
Marette, another lunch, please, in the lounge.
She indicates the chair opposite her for Laravel.
We didn't talk about your fee for this project, Natalie. I'll pay you 1,000,000 Swiss francs.
Laravel keeps her face calm.
Thank you, madame. What did you make of the papers? Comprehensive? But can I suggest something? Of course. I have some contacts who can help us. Who are they?
Says Amandine, looking directly at her.
Discreet contacts, madame, with the sort of skills that we'll need. I'll have to vet them, Natalie. We can't just have anyone involved. I was going to use Mr. Zetkin to find some people for us. I can arrange for my contacts to come here and meet you, madame. I won't tell them any details beforehand. Then you can decide. What skills do they have?
She forks food into her mouth. Laravel's preference would have been to answer these questions after more planning. But any hesitation will look suspicious. So she takes a flyer.
One of them is a logistics expert. One is an electronics expert, and one is an arms expert, madame.
Amandine watches the woman's face, scouring her features.
How does a quiet personal assistant get contacts like this, Natalie?
London haven't invented any part of her cover story that includes what she is about to say, so she invents it.
There's something in my past I didn't tell you. My father was sent to prison for robbery 5 years ago. He was a lifelong criminal. He specialised in burglaries from large houses in big cities. He started small, here in Zurich, then gradually stole more expensive items. He was caught, finally, stealing artwork in Paris.
Amandine listens intently as she eats.
He was the only one to get caught by the police, but he didn't reveal names of the other people he worked with. For that reason, his contacts have been very supportive for me. You told me your parents died in a road accident when you were at university. That's not true, I take it? They are dead, madame. He was stabbed in prison, and my mother did die in a road accident.
Amandine is quiet as she considers what she's been told.
Hello, Nigel here. I couldn't help noticing that you're still awake. Now, I'm an owl. I'm supposed to be up at night, but you need your sleep. So if it's your allergy symptoms that are keeping you up, here's a word to the wise. Try Xyzal. You see, Xyzal works fast to relieve sneezing, runny nose, itchy watery eyes, and itchy nose and throat. And it keeps going strong for 24 hours, so you can get your sleep and wake up refreshed and ready for a productive day ahead. Be wise, all. Take Xyzal at night. Use as directed. Starts working in 45 minutes.
This episode is brought to you by the Toyota Grand Highlander. From daily routines to life-changing adventures, the Toyota Grand Highlander is spacious, powerful, and ready to take on life's grand challenges. Advanced safety features and innovative technology give you confidence for whatever life throws at you. And it's available in a hybrid Nightshade Special Edition, which includes sophisticated gloss black exterior accents and 20-inch black alloy wheels. Learn more at toyota.com/Grand Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
I'm very strict on security, Natalie. As you said, you can't tell these contacts of yours anything until I have seen them and talked to them. Any leaks will be dealt with without mercy.
Laravel nods.
Did the documents give you any ideas about how we can do the project? Some, madame. My father used to tell me about his methods. You are a dark horse, young lady.
Amandine smiles.
Call your friends. Have them come here. We need to move quickly. I'll call them immediately, madame.
The bar in Berlin has filled up over lunchtime. So what have you been up to, Dieter? Says Hans. Keeping out of mischief, says the policeman. I got promoted. I'm a commander now. Impressive. What does that involve? I work closely with the BND, says Dieter, referring to Germany's MI6. When Hans first came to Berlin, he was posted to be an embassy spook and managed the relationship with the Berlin police. Hence him knowing Dieter in the first place. What about you? Says Dieter. Still on the hamster wheel, working your way up through the ranks of the civil service in your foreign office? I'm a B3 now, 3rd secretary level. He lies. They chat on about their lives. Then Hans steers the conversation towards the current operation. We were concerned about the death of one of your parliamentarians, he says. Vincent Fevrier. Why is the British Embassy interested in that? Hans acts furtively and looks around at the people sitting near them in the bar. It's a bit embarrassing, really. One of our staff members was his mistress. Dieter smiles. And we're keen to avoid a diplomatic spat, says Hans. Are you across the investigation? They're not getting very far. The guy leading the team is convinced that the mistress did it. Lorenz, she's called, isn't she?
Hans nods.
We can't find her. She called in sick at work, and she never returned. Her husband doesn't know where she is either.
Dieter takes a mouthful of beer and pauses for a moment.
Gordon, should we drop the pretense?
What do you mean?
I know you work for MI6, says Dieter. Your name appeared on a list that I saw when I was with our spies. It was a list of all the known foreign agents working in Germany.
Hans remains silent, and Dieter continues.
It's fine. We know half of all embassy staff are spies. Half of ours are too.
But what about Fevrier?
Would you be surprised if I told you that Vincent Fevrier was a spy too? Says Dieter. But he was spying on the German government.
His eyes are locked on Hans.
You mean for the German government? No, on the German government. He was a traitor.
Who was he working for?
Says Hans. We don't know yet, but we're working on it.
How do you know this?
I can't tell you.
Do you think he was killed because of that?
Says Hans.
Dieter looks uncomfortable. His demeanour has shifted in the last few seconds.
It's not unheard of for governments to clean up after they find leaks. We didn't kill him, Gordon, if that's what you're getting at. Why did you really want to meet today?
We just want to know what happened when Fevrier died,
he says.
Marla Renz is a British national, suspected of a serious crime. We want to find her and clear her name. Dieter slowly drinks some beer to give himself thinking time.
Do you have any leads on who else it could have been, if it wasn't her? He says.
Hans shakes his head. I saw a report come through from the police team, describing the body and the injuries. It sounds like a professional hit,
says Hans.
Clean and efficient. It doesn't sound like an angry lover wanting to end someone's life.
Dieter nods very slightly. We did get one name from our trawls of Interpol records, he says. A guy from Switzerland, only mentioned once in the whole database. Apparently he is an associate of Mahler-Renz, but we can't find any details on him. He travels under a false name, Karl Baumann. We're pretty sure he's heavily involved with the drugs trade.
You got a photo?
Says Hans. Hang on.
Dieter flicks through his phone and turns it around for Hans to see the person linked to Maya.
You know him?
On the phone is a picture of David. No. I don't know him, mate. Sorry.
Says Hans.